That blasted dog never intended to lead us to the jewels.
It purposely led us into quicksand.
Torpedo! Those shots!
The soft one was a suppressed 9mm Parabellum. Not a big threat. Strictly short of range stuff. The big booming crack was a bolt-action big bore sniper rifle. The kind of gun that can dot the eye on a non-parking sign at 300 meters.
Maybe we should stop long enough for me to set a few mines on our trail.
That won't do any good. Old Junkyard can sniff out any mine ever made. That traitorous canine will lead Cobra High Command around your little traps like the rich avoid taxes.
Mutt's right. Tripwire, we're better off to keep moving and try to recapture Firefly and Wild Vessel.
It works, Firefly!
Of course it does. I said it, didn't I? It's called a Malayan tiger gate, but there won't be any tigers coming down this trail. Only Joe.
Enough of this nonsense. Shooting the dog won't get us out of this, but one of my wrist rockets will.
Very good, Destro, but I'd still like to see that dog get his.
I'll get him, Cobra Commander.
Not if I see him first, Baroness.
They're coming! Right down the path toward
I can hear them, Wild Weasel. Just shut up before they hear you.
Hey! Look who caught up with us!
Junkyard! The Cobras can't be far behind.
Well, he's going right past us up the trail.
The trap is sprung. Let's see what we've impaled.
So you didn't see or hear from Snake Eyes for 6 years after you told him about his family at the airport?
That's right, Scarlett. Stalker and I were putting together the G.I. Joe team.
And I convinced Hawk to look up Snake Eyes. He may have been out of uniform for a while, but he was still the best.
We found out he'd spent 3 years in Japan, but all inquiries into his activities there drew a complete blank. Then we found out he was collecting Army disability checks. The address was a rural delivery number in the High Sierras.
Can't say that I know the feller soldier. This ain't the clearest picture in the world, you know.
You could say he was camera shy.
I know this guy. He hasn't been into town since he got here 3 years ago. Picks up his government check every month at the high logging camp. The jacks up there say he's got a little cabin up on Iron Knife Ridge. They also say he's some kind of werewolf.
Oh, what?
Werewolf. Fur, tail, rays of the moon. He got some sort of mark on his wrist. Don't pay it no mind. Just logger talk, that's all.
You make all that werewolf talk.
Superstitious drivel.
Okay, you go in first.
Snake Eyes?
That's just a wolf, Hawk. That's our man coming in the door behind us. Looks like he's been out hunting rabbit.
Without a gun.
Come on, Snake Eyes. You've forgotten enough for one lifetime. It's time to go home.
He's going to leave that poor animal behind all by itself?
Hawk, that poor animal is a wolf. You don't need no walkies. These outposts for sissies.
That brings up the first time I ever met Snake Eyes. I was running the G.I. Joe candidates through a hand-to-hand combat refresher. They all thought it was a big joke, having a puny little girl teaching men how to fight. Okay, you're next. I made a pretty good example out of Steeler, but I had to prove it wasn't a fluke.
Somebody answer that phone.
Snake Eyes, right? Throw a punch at me, as hard as you can.
Swatter one for Steeler, pal.
His punch was awkward, but phony. Halfway through my throw, I understood that he was letting me throw him. He never lost control. He had the skill of a high-ranking black belt. He was so good that he didn't need to win. He had nothing to prove. He was the best. So he let me win to save my pride. I was fascinated. I had to find out more about him. I caught up to him going off post that evening and got him to admit that he'd studied martial arts in Japan. That was all I was getting out of him on that subject. You'd think he'd belong to some secret society that isn't supposed to exist. We walked and talked about everything. I found that underneath that hard-boiled, mysterious aura was a small-town boy who missed his home and was very, very lonely. By the time we decided to take the ferry to Manhattan for dinner, we were pals. I guess I wanted to be a lot more than a friend, or I wouldn't have gotten so miffed when he told me he liked me because I reminded him of his sister. His twin sister. They'd been close, like there was a psychic link between them. He told me about carrying a photo of her through 2 tours in Nam. He believed that as long as nothing happened to that photo, nothing could happen to him. Apparently, something awful happened to the photo and to Snake Eyes. His sister was killed with his parents in a car crash on the day he came home from the war. He said the photo should have been a talisman for her safety, not his. I remember thinking that for a guy that had been through as much as him, he sure didn't have a lot of meanness in him. Months later, we were on a desert operation. It was supposed to be a simple hostage rescue. Yeah, simple. Halfway around the world in a hostile country with no support. There were 4 of us in the lead chopper. Rock and Roll, Grunt, Snake Eyes, and me. We were flying real low. The doors were open and the rotors were kicking up enough dust to resand the Sahara. Grunt was wondering if the planning honchos had thought to refit the helicopters with dust filters on the air intakes. That's about when our engine stalled out. The stick jockeys up front did their best to get us down intact, but it was pretty hopeless. They gave us the word to jump. Rock and Roll and Grunt were already out the door when the tail rotor stalled and we started to spin. The spin slammed the door shut on my web gear, trapping me. Snake Eyes could have jumped clear. We were slewing towards the other helicopters and I told him to leave me and get out, but he didn't. He was trying to get the door open when we hit the other chopper. The aviation gas lit up immediately. Burning vapor punched right through the plexiglass door window and hit Snake Eyes square in the face like a boxcar full of Roman candles. The crash knocked me out cold. Rock and Roll told me later that he saw Snake Eyes carry me out of the wreckage with his head still in flames. He was standing there holding me, safe, with his ruined mouth opening and closing in his ravaged face, and no sound coming out. He spent 6 months in the hospital, and all the best plastic surgeons tried every trick in the book, but there was nothing in the world that could ever make Snake Eyes look human again. He could have gotten out then with complete disability, but where could he go? What could he do? He had nobody left. Except me. I like to think that he doesn't blame me for what happened to him, that he just didn't want me to feel indebted to him. I'd give anything in the world to know thoughts rattle around inside his mind.
He's not talking, is he?
With any luck, our trap could have spiked them all!
Yes, right through there. Yelp, it's that dog! That same mangy mutt that...
His name is Junkyard. My name is Mutt. And your name is Mud, unless you drop that iron and start grabbing Sky. That's right. And...
Better give up, Joe. You're outnumbered.
What? And pass off a perfectly good firefight?
So it occurred to me, who would suspect an overweight owner of a Cuban-Chinese restaurant in Spanish Harlem to be a ninja? Devious, no? I needed a good cover in the base from which to carry out my investigations, you see. I was determined to bring my brother's killer to justice. My justice. I needed time to unravel the mystery. Why, in the face of such overwhelming evidence, did my brother deny that it was Storm Shadow that shot the fatal arrow? An arrow marked with Storm Shadow's personal sigils. An arrow shot only moments after my brother discussed Storm Shadow's pending disinheritance. A discussion that could have been overheard. And how many archers in this world can hit a ninja master behind a solid wall? Only one that I know of. And if my judgment is correct, he's watching us right now through that window behind me. Get him. Now!
Run! There's a guy in there with machine gun! Someone call the cops!
Quick, reload before. Too late. What? He's taking the arrow. He's trapped. Now, get him. You got him that time, unless he got out through the cellar.
He's in there! Some crazy mask guy!
Don't worry, we've got this under control.
Dumb cop. The man got a machine gun. This is the police. Drop your weapons and come out with your hands in the air.
This is your last warning. Come out, or we're coming in after you.
Freeze! Now assume the position. Read him his rights, Freddy.
Officers, I believe there has been a misunderstanding.
Hey, Sarge, there's a trap door behind the counter.
Better send some backup. We got a mass shooter running loose up here.
Better ask for the SWAT team. I sure ain't going down into that dark cellar after him.
What is this? The weird costume marathon?
Moon Knight.
Hey, take your gun elsewhere, Holmes. This is my street.
Don't look at Wood, they perverts.
Oh, Mom, I never get to see nothing.
You gonna stop for these two, Sid?
Nah, garbage is garbage.
Just intercepted a police call reporting a fight. A masked man with an Uzi and a ninja in white.
Sounds like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow.
Did we run him over, Sid?
Nah, nothing good ever happens in this town.
What's that rattle?
One of them got his machine gun caught in the brush.
You wanna stop and return it?
Nah, you want it? You can come and get it.
Hey, Chico! Dig this clown running along the tracks.
Okay, Wild Bill. Let the vamp down here so it can zip north on the West Side Highway. We'll fly up ahead and do an aerial recon.
I give up, man. What do you think this is all about?
A new breakdancing act? Yeah, that's it!
Wow, slick move! That's timing. Hey, where'd they go?
They're on the roof. I can hear them.
Traffic is pretty bad on the highway, Scarlett. You on target yet?
Almost there, Hawk.
Snake Eyes! So it was you! And it was you who fought me in Destro's castle! You who were the apple of my uncle's eye!
I found them, Hawk. They're on the roof of a train, and it's heading for a tunnel.
I've no grudge against you, Snake Eyes. I loved you like my brother, but I won't let you stop me from what I have to do. Yes, I know you can beat me with a blade, but I swear I'll cut you back with my dying breath. A helicopter? Do you remember that sound that day in Southeast Asia? The helicopter was waiting for us, and the sky lit up with Tracer. Do you remember? No, you were unconscious, and the helicopter's rotors never stopped beating, and you were screaming about your sister's photo. These are good things to remember before we die. Now, come at me and give me your best. You throw your blade away? You want me to mount the attack? Yeah! A tunnel! You could have jumped clear at the last moment and let the tunnel kill me! We're even now. All debts are clear. Stand up, my brother. I have something to tell you. I didn't shoot my uncle. The arrow that killed him was mine, but it had been retrieved from the body of the squirrel I shot behind the wall that day at practice. Retrieved by a masked assassin who escaped in a Cobra helicopter. I've spent years working my way up in Cobra, and one day I will be important enough to trust with the identity of my uncle's killer. And that day, I'll have my cold dish of vengeance. And after that day, perhaps, you and I can be the brothers we always should have been.
Stay back, stay back.
I saw them fall between the second and third cars.
It's coming up, Scarlett. Your cousin, Russell.
Drop it, and Snake Eyes. Where is he? Where's Storm Shadow? Why do I bother asking? You never answer.
The Joes have disappeared into the swamp again.
This is futile. Time to call out the Dreadnoks.